Thank you for joining me for this special program which commemorates the memories of those who have fallen on October 7th. It's 1 year since Hamas invaded Israel, killing 1,200 Israelis and other nationals and taking more than 250 men, women, and children hostage. The dark mark that was left on the world shocked the nation, reducing the Israeli people to a state of mourning and in urgent need of answers and perhaps a miracle or two. Among the horrific array of tragedies is that of the killed hostage, Alon Lulu Shamriz. Yonatan Shamriz is the older brother of Alon. Thank you so much for joining me today as it marks the beginning of a ceremony that you are putting together here in Har Yarkon Park to commemorate those that have fallen, the hostages that were murdered in Gaza. Tell me, what happened on October 7th?
On October 7th, we wake up to the sounds of the alarm and rockets landing nearby. And right after, we understand that our kibbutz Kfar Aza, was conquered by hundreds of Hamas terrorists. Immediately after, I get messages from all around the kibbutz, from people that slaughtered in their own house, screaming for help. Early in this morning, my brother Alon sent me a message that he heard terrorists go inside his house. I spoke with him for the last time, and only a week after we understand that he was kidnapped, although I thought he was murdered. And on that day, 64 people from the community of Kibbutz Kfar Aza were murdered, 19 more kidnapped. Most of the settlements nearby the border has been conquered, and many of them killed. On the 7th of October, there were 251 hostages in the hand of the Hamas, include babies, children, women, elderly people, injured people, and more than 1,000 people have been slaughtered in their own beds.
Your brother was not murdered by Hamas. It was an unfortunate incident, and please share what happened.
So Alon was in Hamas tunnels for 65 days. After 65 days, he managed to rescue himself and his two friends from the hands of Hamas. And he started to walk in Gaza to find his way to the hands of the IDF. And for 5 days he managed to navigate. And I think the most dangerous place at that time, and the most dangerous place in the world in that time. And he managed for 5 days to navigate to near the IDF. The IDF is mistakenly identified him and his friends as terrorists and mistakenly shot him. And it was a very devastating event for, I think, all of Israel and mainly for us, for the family.
You took this very hard. You really took this very hard, and you spoke with very harsh words to Minister Gallant. If you can just share what you had said, and would it be the same today?
When Gallant called, I have to admit that he has the guts and brave to call the family. Regardless to all the other minister and government members that didn't spoke with us. Gallant called us, and I told him that I will hunt him and all of his friends in the government as long as I'm living, and they're going to pay for the neglection and the failure of the 7th of October. And of course, we demand that a national investigation committee will be formed as soon as possible to, it's a statement It's a leadership statement to say we are responsible and we want to investigate what happened, and in order it for not happen again. And the people that will be blamed will have to pay the price for their failure, for their own failure.
News needs trained journalists. The Media Line, the first American nonprofit news agency covering the Middle East, has mentored scores of students from prestigious American universities and around the globe. We are one of the best kept secrets. Universities are partners. Students receive credit. In order to bring you trusted news, we need support for our future journalists. Please make your tax-deductible gift today. Go to themedialine.org.
You kind of addressed the rule book earlier, but to me as a journalist, how do you speak to someone whose son was kidnapped? I kept asking myself, what do you say? What don't you say? There isn't a handbook. You took something that's not easy to share with the world that is really shaken by it, at least most of the world. So what would you say to people that are coming to you and asking questions that are sometimes afraid to come to you? Even the person in the street, when you say people don't want to necessarily see me, I may be the reflection of what they don't want to go through.
I mean, something, and people have heard me say this at this point probably thousands of times, I'm not great with when people ask, how are you? Because I think that it's audaciously inappropriate to ask someone, to walk by someone who, has a knife in their heart and say, how are you? I don't understand the question because I don't know what they're looking for. I realize most of the time it's really innocent, but I think all of our words can be more gently crafted before they come out of our mouths in general. All the more so when you're dealing with people who are going through immense torture. So I started to wonder, because I do think sometimes, and I have to be more kind about it, I think when people say, how are you, they're not trying to upset me. They really, first of all, it's natural to say to someone, how are you? And I think that what they mean is, I'm thinking of you, and I'm with you. But they just say, how are you? But I just feel that I never know what to do with that question. I just feel confused because I think, do you not see the knife that's sticking out of my heart? Why would you ask that? Or you don't see the truck that's on our chest? Why would you ask that? It seems perverse.
Okay. Yonatan, the Israeli government is definitely in a difficult position. They are trying to weed out Hamas. They're trying to close the tunnels, the infrastructure. Do you feel that it's really sort of a very giant mess of them trying to be able to keep the Israelis safe for the future? At the same time, the hostage families are trying to get their loved ones out, the 101 that are still remaining.
I don't think there is any conflict with these two objectives. I think that our Jewish values and our, our civil values are, have to put the hostages in first. And we need to bring back the hostages as soon as we can. Because in every second it goes by, there is a great risk for their lives. And for Hamas and Hezbollah, we can go and hunt them immediately after we get the hostage back. But the Israeli government need to prioritize the hostages.
I was with my boyfriend Hanani and with my friend Rafael. Actually, Rafael I met at the day of the Nova Festival, but he was a friend of Hanani. And we were having a beautiful night, enjoying the evening, loving and dancing, and everything was great until 6 and something in the morning. The music stopped, we found ourselves without option to where to go. Were searching for a safe place to hide. And we decided that the best option that we had was to find a road shelter or a bunker in a kibbutz, maybe someplace nearby. And the first place that we saw that was safe was a road shelter. We got inside, the three of us, we sat there. We were the first ones to get inside. And after a few minutes, 40 people, we became 40 people inside of a very small confined space. And the terrorists arrived where we were. They threw at us gas grenades and scrapple grenades and shock grenades and every sort of explosive, and they also started getting inside themselves and shooting everyone. And out of those 40 people, 10 got out alive. So those 2 that were outside of the shelter.
Can you take a minute to describe what it was like? And you mentioned it earlier, walking in the shelter over bodies and trying to explain what happened in that shelter.
I don't know how to explain the feeling of seeing someone breathing, feeling, talking, looking, and imagining and hoping, and just see a person coming from a person to becoming nothing in a matter of a second. I don't know if it's sad, if it enrages me, and if it's empty. It's just seeing those beautiful people on in this state and seeing the terrorists that were there laughing at our face. It's one of the most screwed up things that I ever seen in this world, and I wish there was something I could do so I could have protected them. I think everything should be done to bring those people home. I really don't care what the consequences are. I just think that those people have been in here. They have no notion of time and space anymore. I was in the 7th of October massacre, and I lived through one day, and it messed me up pretty good, so I can't imagine what it is to be like that for a year.
You are spearheading this effort right here on this stage, which is going to look like something totally different on October 7th. You created an organization, Kumu, to be able to bring everyone together to honor their memories. Tell us what's going to happen October 7th here.
So hopefully, if all the conditions will suit, it's going to be full of people, more than 40,000 people. Near the stage is going to be full of bereaved families and hostage families. And I think it's going to be one of the most meaningful occasion that ever happened in Israel. I think it will be so powerful, and the energy is going to be, amazing. But it's going to be a difficult memorial. It's going to be very, very hard to be in. But I think every Israeli want to take part in this memorial, want to reunite with the families, want to hug them. And I think we create a ceremony that reflects all the communities that got hit on the 7th of October. And when I saw the ceremony, the videos, the texts, I understand what we are doing here and why it's so important that it will happen here, and all the Israeli people could come together and hug. And I think this is a privilege for me to lead this event.
The government of Israel has a separate ceremony, one that the hostage families did not want to partake. How do you feel about yours being called the alternative ceremony, and what do you make of the fact that it's a closed, televised event?
So again, we are not alternative, we are the national memorial, and this is something that we are very insist to mention every interview. And I think it is the national memorial. And I think the tape, the government tape, reflects the disconnection from the people that we see today. And I think that a government that didn't meet the families, didn't take any responsibility on what happened on the 7th. could not make a ceremony that reflects how the bereaved family want their loved ones to be remembered. And I think what we are doing here, it's quite the opposite, because this memorial, it came from the families. There was a strong sentiment in this family, in those families, to come and honor all the people that fall on the 7th of October, because we started a war. We didn't start the war. We are we're in the middle of a war, and many of the loved ones that fall on the 7th of October are slightly forgotten. And now I think it's the place to remember what happened and the heroes that come try to save us. And I think that there's nothing more important from this memorial.
Please tell us about your brother Alon, what he was like, what his dreams and hopes were.
So we were 3 brothers and 1 sister. I'm the eldest, and the 3 brothers, we were like a small gang. We do everything together. We operate a family business together, and we were in charge of the kibbutz community pub. So we played snooker and cards and drank a lot of beers, and we do everything together. And Alon was very smart, very happy, and very humble. And I think what happened to him and the way that he's been through during Hamas captive and in those 5 days where he managed to lead his friends into safety. We need to say it. He did everything right. He did everything that he can, and in the most extreme condition that you can think of. And this is Alon. Alon is very sharp. He was very brave, and on the 15th of October, he supposed to start study computer science, and unfortunately, this is not going to happen.
What do you say to the pro-Palestinian youth in particular, who may not even understand what happened on October 7th?
I think that they need to question everything that they learned from the media. I think that this is for everyone that hear us and see us. If you think that what happens on October 7th is only Israeli problem and a Jewish problem, you have a big mistake. Because here in Israel, even though our borders are on the 7th of October are broke, we have borders. But in Europe and US, you don't have borders. And this could happen to you very quickly without you even notice.
News needs trained journalists. The Media Line, the first American nonprofit news agency covering the Middle East, has mentored scores of students from prestigious American universities and around the globe. We are one of the best kept secrets. Universities are partners. Students receive credit. In order to bring you trusted news, we need support for our future journalists. Please make your tax-deductible gift today. Go to themedialine.org.
Ruth Wasserman Lande is a former member of Knesset and a research fellow at Misgav Institute for National Security. Ruth, thank you so much for taking time to talk about what's happening on October 7th.
My pleasure. I'm very happy to be with you here today.
1 year of a multi-front war, and you have been remarkable as one of the key spokeswomen, battling it out in the media, on forums, talking about what's gone down since that very difficult day. And looking at the controversy that we're facing right now, and even particularly with October 7th, the 2 different ceremonies that are taking place, what are your thoughts?
I think that Israel has really went through a very, very traumatic year. The feeling is that there was a pogrom, something that has hurt the nation's sentiment, and truly a feeling of a kind of going into your own space, your own private space, your own body, your own family, your own private kind of surrounding. And that is something that has left the people of Israel truly traumatized and hurt. And until our 101 hostages will return, I believe that that sore will not begin to heal. That's the first thing that's important for me to say. The second thing is that I speak from my professional experience as an expert on Arab issues, attempting to understand the other side and the psyche of the other side, and to analyze what on earth is going on. And one message I have for our audience today, Felice, and that's that the framing of what is happening here on the international media and arena is completely wrong. It's not about Israel and the Arabs at all. This is the mantra that the Islamic Republic of Iran wants us to have. And the entire world has caught on to it. And even Israel, to a degree, is participating in this circus of messages. It's about a Shia-Sunni war that's over 1,000 years old, about world domination based on Sharia. This is the radicalism of Islam attempting to take over the West and its values.
Ruth, it's very important, I think, for the audience to understand why so many of the young people are not getting this point. And it's a crucial point. And it really goes against the way we see many of the young people acting, those that are often involved with the encampments that have taken place since October 7th as well, and the demonstrations. Some feel that they're aligned with Hamas, some feel they're aligned against Israel, some don't even understand what they're doing.
I think that the majority of the people involved don't understand what they're doing. Had they had an inkling of what they're doing and how much they are being made pawns in a game that is much larger, very sophisticated, concocted by the Islamic Republic of Iran, which is the Shiite leader of radical Islam on the one hand, and Qatar, the Sunni leader of radical Islam, along with Erdogan of Turkey. They would have not participated in this because they are indeed useful pawns in a much bigger game. And the end game is, as I said, domination, not on a regional basis, not the Middle East, not the Gulf, nor Israel, but worldwide domination based on Sharia. This is the ideology. He or she who speak Arabic can hear this on interviews. It's not a secret. They don't hide behind it. They say it proudly and openly. This is the objective. And the reason why many young people don't understand is because it was premeditated, very well planned for many, many years, since 1979, since the Islamic Revolution in Iran, before without social media, and in the past years with social media, via infiltration into circles of influence, whether it's LGBTQ, or whether it's Greenpeace, or whether it's far-right circles, whether it's think tanks or university campuses, whether it's owning a third of London as Qatar owns a third of London, or in a different mechanism, via social media influencing of messaging or buying public opinion. These are the two methods, not wholly sophisticated, but one needs to understand that they're there to actually deal with the issue. And if we don't diagnose the problem, we can't find the solution, because the cure will forever be wrong.
Let's bring it back to October 7th. This nation is divided. This nation is filled with trauma. This nation, it will take years to heal. If there's something that you can leave the viewers in understanding, Where do you go from here? How do you mend all of the things that happened that Hamas accomplished? Some of it came from before, when we saw the judicial reform protests, but most of it didn't.
I would say only one thing. We have to be together. The Jewish people and the people of Israel from within Israel, together with the Jewish people throughout the world, but also the like-minded friends of Israel who understand the importance of this country, who understand the importance that is even religiously attached to this country. We have to stand together. This is the underlining, I would say, strength and the resilience against radicalism. And of course, the other steps, being strong, we have no privilege to do otherwise, and re-education, which are a must. But we have to stand together. If we don't, it is a significant weakening factor.
Ruth Wasserman Lande, thank you so much for sharing this time and with the audience today.
Very, very honored. Thank you very much, Felice. And may God continue to stand with us as He has done always and very, very obviously now too.
Thank you for joining us for this special edition in remembrance of those that fell on October 7th. We would love to hear from you. Thoughts, good wishes, please email us at editor@themedialine.org. From Har Yarkon Park, Felice Friedson for The Media Line.
News needs trained journalists. The Media Line, the first American nonprofit news agency covering the Middle East, has mentored scores of students from prestigious American universities and around the globe. We are one of the best-kept secrets. Universities are partners. Students receive credit. In order to bring you trusted news, we need support for our future journalists. Please make your tax-deductible gift today. Go to themedialine.org.